What really works when it comes to skincare after 50? In this episode, we're talking with podcaster and skincare expert Michelle Rose about how to care for changing skin in midlife and beyond. Michelle shares practical advice for dry skin, creating a simple routine, choosing natural and less toxic products, eating for healthier skin, and knowing the skincare do's and don'ts after 50. We also tackle some listener questions. If you want healthier, more radiant skin without being overwhelmed by products and promises, this episode is for you.
Welcome to the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast, a place created just for you, the single Christian woman over 50 who knows there is still so much more ahead. I'm your host, Janine Jordan, Christian confidence coach and leadership mentor based in Alberta, Canada.
And I'm your co-host, Ellie McCormick, a flag certified coach, Christian longevity coach, and life coach in the United States. And if you've ever felt a little overlooked, a little forgotten, or quietly wondered, God, what does the rest of my life look like from here? We understand because we've been there too. We know what it's like to carry dreams that haven't fully unfolded yet, to navigate the unique challenges of singlehood, and to wrestle with questions about purpose, health, and the future. And honestly, we couldn't find a space online that truly spoke to us, so we created one.
This is Jesus People Sisterhood, a place where you are not invisible, you are valuable. Where you are not past your prime, you are stepping into one of the most powerful, meaningful seasons of your life.
Here you'll find real conversations, deep encouragement, and a circle of women who love Jesus and are walking this road right alongside you. Because you carry wisdom, you carry strength, and your life still holds incredible purpose.
So join us as we talk about what really matters, building meaningful relationships, strengthening your health, and growing deeper in your walk with God. And we share tons of valuable information relevant to our sisterhood. We'll share stories, explore life-giving ideas, hear inspiring voices, and yes, have a few laughs along the way. So wherever you're listening from, whether you're in your kitchen or on a walk or sitting in that quiet place, just know you belong here, and let's walk this journey together. Ladies, let's talk about our private Facebook group for senior housing and co-living. Finding the right living situation later in life can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be a solo journey. That's why we created a private group just for this, a supportive community where single Christian women, 50 plus, can explore house sharing and co-living options together. What's it for? This group is a place to post your housing needs and wants, whether you're looking for a housemate, hoping to share a home, searching for a room to rent, considering a tiny house, or exploring some other living arrangement that fits your season of life. It's also where landlords and renters can connect directly. Why join? If you've ever wished you could find housemates who actually share your values and faith, this is the place. You'll be connecting with other single Christian women over 50 who understand exactly what you're looking for: companionship, safety, affordability, and a home that feels right.
And you don't have to be a single Christian woman over 50 to join this group. If you have a room, home, apartment, or rental property available for a JPS sister, you're welcome here too. Singles, couples, and organizations with housing to offer are all invited to be part of this community. And here's the truth. A group like this simply can't succeed without a critical mass of people. The more members we have, both women looking for housing and those with rooms or rentals to offer, the more likely it is that real connections and matches happen. Right now, we don't have enough people in the group, and that makes it hard for members to find what they're looking for. Growing this group isn't optional. It's essential to it working at all. So here's what we're asking. If you're looking for housing, join us. If you know someone with a room, home, or rental property to offer, Invite them too. And if this group could bless someone in your life, please share it with them. The link to our private JPS Senior Housing Facebook group can be found in the show notes. Hey Janine, how's it going? Up
And
north?
up, yeah, up north, things are going well, Ellie. We are at the bottom of a heat wave, and so things are cooling off a little bit, and it's kind of nice. What's
Mm.
going on with you?
Hey, I wanted to ask you, so Great White North, do Canadians call Canada the Great White North?
Well, some people do. I think it was more back, oh gee, I don't know how long ago, where the Great White North was defined by Bob and the Mackenzie or something. What were their names? Bob and Doug Mackenzie, that's it. And they were kind of goofs, really. They drank a lot of beer and but people related, that was sort of the look for Canada back then. And people, they called it, I remember they called it the Great White North, but I don't know
Oh,
if other
okay.
people call it that as well.
This is gonna sound weird, but I there was this rock group called Rush. You ever heard Rush? They were
I
Canadian.
have, yeah.
Yeah.
Did,
I
did,
didn't really listen to them, but I knew people who did. Didn't they have like some song like the Great White North or something? Take off to the Great White North.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I could maybe look it up, but I did not know that. Yeah, I'm not the
I
queen of
I
rock
have
and
to tell
roll.
you this
I
this
don't know.
funny thing that happened. So my era, which was the late 70s and 80s, I listened to rock music. That was my thing. And
Okay.
in the early 90s, my
Ooh,
then spouse and I took this trip to Canada, and we were driving around Canada, and
right.
this is Eastern Canada.
Hmm.
And we got this radio station on in the car that was about it was a classic rock station. And they were
Okay.
playing all the classic hits, the number one hits from 70s and 80s.
Okay.
They were playing all this music. Now remember, I was into rock music, what we called in the late 70s hard rock. We used to call it hard rock.
Okay.
I
Yep.
didn't know one song. It was all Canadian. It was all Canadian rock music. And this is a hit? I never heard of it. And then the next song would come on. It was like, I never heard of this one. What is this? I don't even
Well,
think I heard Rush play. But of course, I didn't really. I only didn't know a lot of Rush songs.
I
Oh my
oh
goodness. And I
I
thought Canada, so their hits were only Canadian hits. That was
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't know the tie-in to Rush. The only thing I do know is about Bob and Doug McKenzie, and they were just comedians at the time, and I believe they called it the Great White North, Canada, the Great White North. And I don't think they spoke for all Canadians, but they were highly popular here. So there you go. Hmm.
okay. Were they popular with you or no?
I wouldn't say that they were my favorite. I think I knew them. I think, because everybody knew them. It was like they made fun of Canadians, right? I think the idea, well, I'm not sure, but was that everybody was kind of not that bright and just wanted to have fun and really didn't know very much. It sounds just awful.
Mhm.
So they were supposed to be humorous. So,
So what was weird is because I kept hearing all this classic rock hits that I'd never heard of.
right.
I felt like I was in like a parallel universe or something, that I'd been transplanted to maybe another parallel planet where those were all the classic rock hits of this planet, and I had been transported because it made no sense. I knew all the classic rock hits. How could I not know any of them that are playing on this radio station?
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
really don't know.
But it was a Canadian thing for them.
But I'm
They
so
only
glad you
played
brought it up
Canadian music.
because it's a blast from the past for me. That's for sure. Things like Take Off and Hoser and things that we came across. So yeah, just wow. Interesting.
Yep. Okay. Move on. Let's move
Move
on.
on. Let's move on down.
Next episode.
Road. Is that classical rock?
All right. Well, let's get on to the episode.
Yeah. Welcome, sisters, to this episode of the Jesus People Sisterhood podcast, the only podcast specifically for single Christian women over 50. Today, we give a shout out to our sisters in Fiji. Thank you for listening. We want everyone to get to know our listeners, and so we'll be doing listener spotlight episodes from time to time. If you'd like to share your testimony or what the Lord is doing in your life currently, or if you are leading in ministry or another field and would like to tell us about that for a Jesus Sister Excelling in the Last Third episode, please contact us at support@jesuspeoplesisterhood.com. We would love to have our listeners come and share with the sisterhood. And now, let's get to today's episode.
Welcome back, sisters. Today we're talking about something that changes right along with us as we move through our 50s, 60s, and beyond, our skin. If you've noticed that your skin has become drier, more sensitive, or simply doesn't respond to the products that used to work, you're definitely going to want to hear today's conversation.
There are so many skincare products, treatments, devices, and anti-aging claims out there that it can be hard to know what actually works and what's just clever marketing. So today, we're getting some answers from our guest, Michelle Rose. Michelle Rose is a relentless beauty hunter, whether that means traveling the country as a full-time nomad or teaching women how to care for their skin and bodies. She loves talking about the real things midlife women are navigating, from fitness and fashion to faith, confidence, and calling. So, yes, she can talk about face exercise and your skincare routine. But don't be surprised when she ends up talking about the woman God designed you to be.
So, sisters, let's talk about how to care for the skin you're in and age with health, confidence, and grace. We welcome Michelle Rose to the podcast. Michelle, thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
It's great to have you. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so every time this question is asked, I always think people want to hear all the long list of titles and certifications, but the truth of it is, my favorite part to talk about is just what I love to do and be. I am a nomad. I live full time on the road with my husband, who's an artist. I have two grandchildren that call me Mimi. That right there is my favorite title on the planet. But I spend most of my time drinking tea and then talking to women about all the things that they feel insecure about. So if it's their fashion, their skincare, or anything like that, my heart is to help them overcome those insecurities so they can get out there and live the life that they were meant to live and their calling and their purpose and let God just lead the way. So that is what I do in a nutshell. But I'll tell you, any conversation could lead to grandbabies, to sunsets, or to skincare. So.
That's a lovely introduction. I think that a lot of ladies in our position, especially ladies over 50, they have some dry skin. I mean, it just appears, everything kind of falls down. You get these hairy things that come out of the whole gamut there. But is there something that we can actually use for that skincare problem? Hey, we're getting drier. We're drying up like prunes.
Yeah, absolutely. So oftentimes when I'm talking to new clients and they're of this age range, a lot happens. So one of the misconceptions is a lot of them are still using the type of skincare they used in their 20s and 30s. They just didn't know how to adapt as they kept getting older. The other thing is, and I have what I call the sandwich method. It just makes it easy for women to remember. Your cleanser and your moisturizer are the bread of your sandwich, right? You need them. So everybody uses them, even in their 20s, that's what you're using. But it's the part in the middle of the sandwich that brings the nutrients and all the fun things that you really enjoy and need to live off of. And so those are the things that when I work with a client, we're trying to dial in. What is it that your skin is missing at this time, whether it's peptides or it's ceramides or it's vitamin C or anything like that. But ultimately, this is what it cleanse, hydrate, and hydrate means just water-based serums and types of things like that, and then moisturize is the sandwich. And usually that hydrating part, you have to think about it kind of like if you've got a raisin and a grape, you're looking at them, they're the same thing, it's just one has dried out. And the way you plump that the raisin up is if you put it in a cup of water. If you put it in oil, it's going to soften and the wrinkles are going to swell, but they're not going to plump up the same way as if it was put into a water-based ingredient. So that's essentially the element that we're missing when we hit our 40s and 50s and we start seeing things dry out. We're missing water. And so the other way to look at it too is you've got desert, dry, cracked land, right? When it's so hard and cracked, when it rains, the water's going to take the path of least resistance. And so, sadly, no matter how much it rains, it's not going to soften and fix the dry, cracked land. So, that's when you have to come in with the moisturizer and soften things. So, if you've gone a long time without hydration and you've got really rough, tough, leathery style skin and your wrinkles are deep, you want to start with the moisturizing to soften the skin so that your skin can start absorbing that water content again.
That was
Hmm.
a great picture that she painted with the grape and the raisin.
Quite apropos. So, I mean, we've got all these things like azelaic acid, and we got the vitamin C, and we got the pure hyaluronic acid, and we've got the retinol, and we've got the glycolics, and I mean, a girl could just go on, right? My question's twofold there. Does microneedling really work, like helping with that, get them in there? And then do we need to buy all of that stuff? It just seems like a lot.
No, you don't need to buy all of that stuff. Really, I love it when women can just sit and look at things a little more simply. That's why I say cleanse, hydrate, moisturize. Like those are the three basics. That's where I start. And we build off of that. So once we start getting your skin, because most of the time at this age, our barrier or skin barrier is starting to deteriorate. And sadly, some of it is from a lot of the products that you just listed, right? And so those were good in our youth where we might have had acne problems or over oil control, the things that we needed to put into place. But then when you get into when the skin starts getting thinner, it's a little more delicate. And then you start attacking it with some of these ingredients, and your skin, it just starts kind of breaking down because it doesn't know what to do with it. So that's why it's really great to kind of shelf half of that when you're starting out to repair the skin barrier, and we just go into some basics. I don't know if you're familiar with a term called slugging. It's not a new concept. It's actually something that they did way back in ancient days, but it's kind of had a resurgence in the last couple of years on social media. And I'm a non-toxic girl, but the main concept is you take Vaseline after you've done your normal skincare and you put it on at nighttime when you go to bed just to soften that skin that we talked about if it was too dry and cracked. And that right there does do a lot of repair work for your skin. Now, there's a lot of other things you can do to slug your skin and not use Vaseline, but it's an occlusive that helps hold in the hydration so that it's not evaporating when you're asleep or get lost on your pillowcase or things like that. Because all day long when we're going, you got to think about it too. You put chapstick on throughout the day multiple times. We don't usually do that with our skincare because we've put our makeup on and we don't want to mess that up. But sadly, you can't drink one glass of water in the morning and call it done, right? You need to have multiple times of drinking throughout the day. And so if you're having a day off, it's really great to kind of reapply. Like hyaluronic acid is good. You want to make sure it's a natural source if you can, because some companies and hydrolyzed is going to be better because they take it down to a micro size where your skin can get it in a little bit better. But if you do too much hyaluronic acid on the larger macro size, it's just going to sit on top of your skin and feel sticky. So you do want to make sure that but hyaluronic acid's a good one to just kind of put in a spritz and spray all day. Or if you've got green tea water that you want to mist all day, a rose water you want to mist all day, anything that you can just kind of, and what's great is if you've got makeup on, those mists can act like a setting spray that if things start settling in the cracks, you're going to now moisten it back up and you can kind of dab the cracks loose and just kind of keep going with your day. So that's kind of one of the number one things I tell women, just start carrying a spray bottle with you with any of whatever your favorite one is. The green tea is just good because it kind of invigorates you a little bit, kind of like the caffeine. It just picks you up a little. And that rose water, it can be calming. And so it's nice to have that if you kind of live a stressful day. But I would not overdo all the ingredients. If you can sit at 5 or less, that's probably the best place to start when you're repairing the barrier.
From the very beginning of Jesus People Sisterhood, Ellie and I have prayed and searched for ways to help our sisters not just survive, but truly prosper in this last third of life. And we know the numbers are sobering. 1 in 5 single women over 65 will live at or below the poverty line. If that's you, or you're watching that possibility creep closer, we want you to know we see you. And this isn't a side issue to us. It's close to our hearts. One practical step some of our sisters have taken is shared housing. pooling resources, splitting expenses, and gaining the blessing of built-in community along the way. If you have a spare room, that's part of why we started the JPS Senior Housing Facebook group, to help connect sisters who could bless each other this way. We've also been asking the Lord for wisdom around finances, real, workable strategies for women in our season of life. And as He brings us ideas, we want to keep bringing them to you. Today, we want to share one that meant a lot to us personally.
I never want to stop learning. And one of the ways I keep growing my financial knowledge is by listening to people like Toby Mathis. A lot of what he teaches is aimed at younger people who still have decades to save and invest. And if you're like me, that can feel pretty discouraging because we can't go back to 30 and start over. But one thing Toby says over and over has stuck with me. Owning a business is one of the most reliable paths to financial security at any age. That's why I want to tell you about something that changed things for me. In 2020, I was unsure and a little afraid and wondering if it was too late to build something of my own. I joined the Virtual Savvy community and took their VA course. And it gave me both the practical tools like branding and learning apps like Canva and the confidence to actually launch my coaching practice in 2021. I wouldn't be doing what I do today without that first step. Virtual Savvy's program, the Savvy System Accelerator, walks you through starting a profitable at-home business step by step over 90 days. I want to be honest with you, of course, no course can promise you a certain outcome. And this isn't a magic fix. But I can tell you why I think it's worth considering for women in our stage of life. The startup costs are low. You work from home on your own schedule. You're not thrown in to figure it out alone. There's a real community, there's weekly coaching, and you're encouraged to pair with an accountability partner in the community. And Abby Ashley, who created it, is a delightful and genuine sister in the Lord. If you've been feeling stuck or like the door is closed on building something new for yourself, I want to gently push you on that thought. It hasn't closed. If this program feels like it might be a fit, there's a link in the show notes for instant access and a free training as well if you just want to dip a toe in and see whether this path could be for you. Sisters, whatever you decide, please hear this. Your worth was never tied to your bank account, and God has not forgotten you in this season. This is simply one door among the ones He may be opening for you, worth a look.
And if part of you is thinking, I'm too old to learn something new, I want to remind you of what we talk about often here: neuroplasticity. Your brain is capable of growing at any age, and challenging it with something new isn't just possible. It's part of what keeps you sharp and thriving for the years ahead. Don't count yourself out.
What is the best place to start when you're repairing the barrier?
For 5 or less ingredients. So, I mean, not
Okay.
ingredients, products. So if you've got your cleanser and your moisturizer, and then if you've got 3 products in between, that would be where I would max it out. I would not try to do more products than that because your skin gets confused. A lot of the ingredients get carried over in between all the products anyway, so you might be getting hyaluronic acid 5 times. You really don't often need that many.
Okay. So, because there's so many skincare products, women can get overwhelmed. What would you recommend? Where should she start when she wants to build a simple skincare routine?
Yeah, so of course, the cleanser and the moisturizer, chances are most women are using those. So but if you're not, because I was an all or nothing girl, I was like, I'm just not even going to get into this. It was too confusing, right? But you've got your cleanser and moisturizer, that's your basics. Then the first place I would start is a good vitamin C serum. That right there, vitamin C is really good at helping with those environmental toxins in the air. So if you're getting any exposure to something where your skin might have a sensitivity to something externally, that's going to help with that. It has some great antioxidants in it for the skin. So that would probably be the first serum I would invest in to just get things started. But like I said, you can mix up a mist of your own in your own kitchen and have something that at least is hydrating if you, because vitamin C's can be quite expensive, right? And so at least to get a good quality one. And so I just tell people start with a mist. If you don't have the funds, get the hydration going, right? And then the vitamin C would be where I would start. I try to get women at this age and stage, I try to get them off of retinol products, not vitamin A products. So let me say that clearly because vitamin A is the base of what retinol is, right? And so if you've got a natural non-toxic product that's got like the beccachiol or using sweet potatoes or anything that's got high vitamin A content, it's going to give you the benefit of that vitamin A without the trauma that the retinols can do. Not everybody is sensitive to retinols, but the majority of women they're finding are a little bit more sensitive to those retinol ingredients. And so they do break down that skin barrier, especially if you're doing it on a daily basis. So a lot of women were buying a moisturizer that has retinol in it, so you're using it every day when it might be something that you could do once a week, and that way you get the benefit without breaking down the barrier. So usually that's the first thing I have women take away, just so we can see if that was even causing an irritation to the skin.
So much to learn.
Yes.
Great. Okay. What about using something like beef tallow for your face? I know that that's a big thing here in Alberta with our cows and beef tallow and honey. Is that just a trend or is that something that is good for your skin?
Yeah, it's not a trend at all. If you look back at how women were doing their skincare way back when, before we let pharmaceuticals and other industrialized companies get into it and take a piece of the pie, these are the ingredients women were using. You know, it's interesting because we're seeing a resurgence of women going back to putting cucumber slices on their eyes, right? That was hydrating. It helps flush out the puffiness and the dark circles when you're giving the hydration to your eyes. So the beef tallow, it's going to again replace and be a good moisturizing element. It's simple, it's basic, and most people are not going to be allergic or have a weird reaction to it. So if people want to try that, I'm all in. I would not say it's heavy enough to use as an occlusive for the slugging method, but you could mix something, a heavier oil like a castor oil with it to kind of get a heavier occlusive if you wanted to use it even in your slugging. So you could combine those two and use the beef tallow just as your moisturizer during the day and then mix it with your castor oil for night, right? So I think doing that is great. What was the other ingredient you mentioned? You mentioned something else.
Honey, I think she mentioned
Oh
honey.
yeah, honey. Oh my goodness, honey. Yes, absolutely. I think honey. Now, here's what I love. I'm finding that even the vegan world is coming more on board with being okay with even honey being in their products because they're realizing it's not harming the bees' hives as often or as much as they thought, but it's also the benefits to it. You know, it helps do the antioxidant things. It's also got high levels of amino acids, and so those on your skin are helping your skin give it the building blocks it needs to do its own collagen and elastin style repair. So there's so many, and all of the vitamins. I mean, hello, all the minerals and vitamins that you're going to get out of using that raw honey or honey. There is a trend of honey being called fake honey. It's the honey where a lot of people, sadly, over the last couple of years when we were industrializing and doing a lot of things, the only food source that the bees were getting was sugar water, which isn't terrible in and of itself because they do need a source of food, but you want it to have a lot of the wild elements as well. So those fake honeys don't have as high level of all the things that you want to get out of putting a honey on your skin. But I think either way, you're still going to get more benefits than not. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But if you can get a higher quality honey, that would be a better move for your buck on your skin for
Mhm.
sure.
Now, if you use honey, when are you putting it on your skin?
So I I like to mix it in my mists. So if I were to say do a green tea mist because I'm having a week where I'm feeling a little bit sluggish and down. And what's great about making these mists is if you have a 2 ounce bottle, you're making a small teeny amount for the whole week, and then you can switch it up to the rose next week, right? I like to mix that in with my mists in when it's just kind of in that warmer stage so that you can kind of get it mixed in really well. You can definitely add it to your moisturizer as well. You would probably want to mix it with some water to kind of thin it out a little bit and then mix it into your moisturizer. I've seen people even mix it with their foundations, mixing a little bit of water if they were trying, like, because you can get those heavy foundations. And then if you're in the summertime and you want it to be a little thinned out, then you could mix it with your honey water to kind of thin it out so that you're getting more of
Mm.
that natural, glow in the sun. So there's all kinds of places to fit it in. I will say a lot of natural skincare brands do use honey in it. And so you could just kind of check. My favorite brand, they use Manuka honey in a lot of their ingredients. I think more and more companies are adding it already into it than having to necessarily concoct your DIY. Not everybody's got time to DIY their skincare, right? But when you make your green tea in the morning, you just leave a little left over is kind of how I'm making that one work for me, right? So
Okay. Now, is there a place that if somebody does want to DIY it, where would they find that information?
So if they want to reach out to me, I always have some recipes that I'm willing to give away for free and not give away all my secrets for my members. But honestly, Pinterest is kind of one of the best places to look up all that kind of stuff. A
Okay.
lot of these people out there writing good blogs, they are really doing a lot of detail research. I would be careful with YouTube and TikTok. These days, they're using AI so much that now the quote unquote research is muddied because it's not actual research. It's just regurgitated information that has been brought out so much that no longer is it true anymore. It's just what's being said most often. I tend to lean more towards the people who are doctors. Often their offices will have a blog that is being posted to Pinterest and things like that. So I would stick more closely to those style articles than YouTube. But not everything on YouTube is bad. But I do think you'll get more out of it if you're following a blogger.
You've talked a lot about skincare and you've talked about sort of the process, but what is your best anti-aging advice?
So I am, first and foremost, I got into learning skincare because I was a face exercise coach and I had a lot of people asking questions about skincare. But I'm going to tell you, my best anti-aging advice is not the kind that people get wowed by, but it's to smile. If you look at people before and after smiling, you take years off of your face and people cannot look at the wrinkles or anything because when they see your face lit up, they're just thinking, oh wow, I want to get to know this person. There's so much there to be found out, right? They want to engage with you and connect with you. And so they're not looking at all the aging things when they see that smile on your face. So that is my best anti-aging advice. But I will say, I think if I were to give something that goes a little deeper than that, it really truly is just our emotions carry on our face. It is what we do. It's just what happens. Our body traps and stores those emotions in different places, but our face, it will be the tell. And if we could just spend more time in God's word and in letting ourselves slow down and find peace just in the beauty that's surrounding us and just release those emotions and lay them at his feet, so much changes in the countenance of your face that you cannot get out of a skincare bottle. You can't get out of a treatment at a doctor's office. Because I'm all for if you want to go get some minor treatments at a dermatologist's office, but I don't want to erase who you are. And so more and more as these laser treatments and things are happening, the first one usually doesn't erase everything. So if you're just kind of getting a cleanup, clearing out some dead skin cells and things like that, that's fine. But when you do it over and over and over again, all of a sudden you become more like the AI perfect version, right? That your AI photo, when you use AI to generate a photo of you, it's like all of a sudden there's no pores, there's no wrinkles, there's no differentiation of skin color from one side of your face to the other. And you start losing who the person is underneath all that skin. I look at people and I think of when I see their face, I'm like, this is the scrapbook of their life. So when I look at your wrinkles, I'm going, oh, wow. they've spent a lot of time smiling in their lifetime. How neat is that? I want to find out and hear some of their stories. If they have frown lines, I'm thinking, wow, they really, really care about the people in their life. They've had some things happen, and I'd like to hear those stories as well. There's probably a testimony behind them. And so when you're looking at people's faces, it's how you're able to connect with them before words are even exchanged. That's how people get to know you. That's the authentic side of you. So when someone sees something on your face and then you present something opposite of what they see, they can feel the dissonance, right? And so the same thing happens when you go and you get perfection done to your face by getting plastic surgery or whatever. And again, I'm not totally against it because I'll tell you, if it makes you more of who you are, I'm all in. Dolly Parton, I would never want her to change, right? But that's not for me. When you look at Michelle and you get to know who Michelle is, she's a down to earth girl. There's just nothing there that if I went and got perfection done to my face, that would feel authentic at all. I guess that's what I'm going to say for anti-aging is smile, release your cares to the Lord, and be okay with the way you look because it tells the world something about you. And if we don't have that connecting piece, we'd be then in the dumps and depressed because people aren't connecting with us and we'd be wondering why.
Yeah,
Mm, yeah,
totally resonates with me, what you shared.
me too. Mhm.
Okay, so what non-toxic, natural skincare products could you recommend?
So if is it okay if I share a brand with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite brand, and they just for your Canadian listeners and everybody abroad, they are working about becoming something that is international, but it currently is a US based company. Their name is Givaderm. It's woman-owned, Christian-owned business, and I get the privilege of sometimes helping them put together some of their formulations for their future products. So it is kind of neat because they're really doing something in the skincare industry that is not currently happening. In the
Can you
industry,
spell that? I'm sorry to,
oh,
can you
sure,
spell that?
Giveaderm.
Oh, okay. Spelled
Yeah.
like it sounds.
Yes. But they're doing something in the industry that isn't currently happening, which is fine because everything's changing always, right? So, but when a company calls themselves non-toxic or toxic free or chemical free, there really is no regulation for those words. I think to be considered organic, you have to have, I want to say, I'm going to make up a number, but this is probably, I don't know the exact number, but like say 70% has to be organic. So it really doesn't all have to be organic. Toxin free, it just has to be something that hits a certain level, but there is no real standard. And when you go to the EWG websites, the environmental working group, to just kind of see where it rates on the toxic scale, there's a lot of products out there that will grade at a 1 to 3, which is good, right? That means it's not highly toxic. But when you start reading it, the reason why it scored a 1 is because there's not really been any research on that ingredient. And so what does that mean? That means that in about 10 years, we could be finding out that this ingredient causes cancer or some other thing that we are not aware of. The same is true with hormonal disrupting ingredients. We're getting more and more aware of what that looks like. And you'll get on there and you'll score a 1. Well, they just don't have enough data. Again, Givaderm, they are working really hard at trying to make sure that it's not only 100% clean of all those things, but also they're doing their best to try to keep synthetics out of their products. There are some things you cannot avoid being synthetic. You can't get a vitamin C serum without the vitamin C being synthetic because the way you get it is you have to do some extraction methods that create it into ascorbic acid or whatever type of vitamin C it is. But they're trying to keep it to food source so that you're not getting some kind of weird ingredient that's been created in a lab to preserve the product, which does make it a little bit more difficult to find, right? But more and more companies are doing it. I believe that in the last 2 or 3 years, with the movements, what are they called? The Make America Healthy Again, those type of movements, more and more people are becoming aware because now they're talking about the color in your food and things like that. I mean, thankfully, other countries, I guess Canada doesn't do it as badly as America, but every country has those things that they've allowed into their food supply and in their skincare supply. I do think more and more skincare brands will be jumping onto this trend, but I'm just glad to have found a brand that I trust from the start. So Skivaderm's the one that I would recommend at this point. And of course, anybody who's got questions about what what to order, they can reach out to me because I love helping them find the right product instead of buying 10 products and then finding out which one. And then when you do all 10, you don't know which one did it, right? And so I like helping women just dial in which one's the one so that they're not wasting all their money and energy trying to figure that out.
Great.
Okay.
For the sake of time, we're stopping the recording here. We'll pick up where we left off next week. Be blessed by him who is able to protect you from stumbling and to make you stand in the presence of his glory, blameless and with great joy. Until next time. Hey sister, before you go, thank you for being here with us. If you were encouraged by today's episode, would you take a moment to follow or subscribe to the podcast? That way, every new episode finds you right where you are. And if you feel led, leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts helps more women just like you discover this sisterhood. We would love for you to come join us in our free private Facebook group, the Jesus People Sisterhood Community, and keep the connection going.
And we also have a Jesus People Sisterhood senior housing group if you're exploring co-living and new possibilities for this season. You can connect with us at Jesus People Sisterhood on Facebook or visit us individually for Janine at riseupcoachingandconsulting.com and for Ellie at christianlongevity.com. And just a quick reminder, this podcast is for informational purposes and not professional advice. Our prayer is that this podcast blesses you. Until next time, stay connected, reach out, and welcome another sister in.